Hi, we're Krista and Ariel Rawson. We're writing a YA novel together, and we are going to ask each other questions on disability. They're impromptu questions. We've never heard them before. And this week's topic is middle school.
Oh yeah.
I'm worried.
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
So my question is, when I was in middle school, did you ever feel like the school or teachers weren't inclusive enough of me?
Did I ever feel that way in middle school? Well, middle school, I would say there was only one time, and that was when you decided you wanted to play volleyball. And I remember I had a meeting with the administration there about trying to include you in volleyball because you wanted to play. But I would say at that same school, they were life-changing for you. They were such a great group of teachers and administration that they set you on the path that you're on now. So I love that school. All right, so my question is, for middle school, what was the most fun you had?
I had a lot of fun.
I
in
know
middle
you
school. Probably too much fun. Ooh, the most fun. I really loved PE. I think Coach Black was an amazing teacher at that school, and she made every day so much fun. I would just wait for my classes to be over to go play PE. She was just amazing. We would play street hockey in the gym, and she took a regular size hockey stick and cut it in half to make an accessible one so I could play with everyone. Just playing basketball, she would change the rules to make it more fair so I could actually be competitive with my classmates instead of just like, oh, we'll pass you the ball and feel like an idiot because I know I'm not good at basketball against able-bodied people. But yeah, she was just incredible, and like you said, she's the one who got me interested in doing 5Ks, which then got me interested in doing wheelchair track, and then got me interested in University of Illinois, etc., and so I think PE was the most, I don't know if many kids say that, PE is the most fun part of my school.
I know, most kids are like, oh, I don't want to change.
PE,
I don't want
yeah.
to hate PE, but you loved it.
I love it.
I think because it was a challenge.
That's true. I like a challenge.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, and then so my question for you is, this was a few years after the accident, but were you ever given any resources on becoming a parent of a child with a disability? Or did you ever find any kind of support groups or other parents and people you could talk to about that?
No, I didn't. In fact, right after the accident, I remember sitting in the airport waiting to get to you and thinking, just going through my own background knowledge as a parent, trying to figure out, well, how was I going to handle that situation? And I remember thinking about my grandmother, because I think she was the one where I would always, whenever I had parenting questions, I would think of her. And I was thinking, if my grandmother were here, she wouldn't know what to tell me either, and that was scary for me. And then once you were in rehab, still, I think they handed me a thick book. We were lost. We were really lost. We didn't know what to do. So that's one reason too why we listened to you so much, because I didn't have that experience. I didn't know what it was like to be paralyzed, to use a wheelchair. So I had to listen to you. And yes, you were 10 years old, but that was important. So that guided. Definitely, you were our guide as much as we were your guide. Okay, so I asked you about the most fun you had in middle school. Now I'm going to ask you about the most difficult time. If you can think of one specific time, the most difficult time in middle school.
Most difficult time. Ooh.
Or aspect. It could be most difficult aspect of middle school, because there's lots of things happening in middle school.
There's lots of things happening. I think something that was really hard was, just my body changing, because not only was I now paralyzed, but then I was starting to hit puberty in middle school, and I think most middle schoolers go through that, but I think it was amplified being in a wheelchair because I was seeing all the other girls and like how they were changing, and then how my body, I mean, it was changing in similar ways but more rapidly, which is kind of just genetics. But then also just having the wheelchair involved, I think it was just harder to accept and love my body as a 12, 13, 14-year-old, because not only is disability seen as a stigma where you don't, like, your body's broken and you don't like your body, on top of just being a teenage girl and entering adulthood and all the things that come with that. And so I think it wasn't so much, outside sources, it was more internal in middle school, dealing with that and trying to understand my body and eventually learn to love it.
Good.
And that's it.
Thanks for watching.